more good wait what time is it? It's afternoonish time. Good afternoon. It's been a while. It's been a while. So so I know, so this video I am gonna post on YouTube. So for my YouTubers that watch this, you may be wondering why I haven't started my Proverbs series. I plan on starting it either Sunday or Monday. So, just giving you guys some time to, subscribe. Go and subscribe to the YouTube channel. I still haven't posted it on here. I don't necessarily know how to do that. I'll find out. But the topic for today is father versus friend. This is a topic that the Lord has been putting on me for at least a month or two. And I just haven't done it. And, he doesn't necessarily like when I don't listen. So, he gives me problems. He does some things. And one thing that the Lord does to show me, like, hey, you should be preaching, but you're not doing it, is so I get paid for watching my sisters. And whenever my mom starts, like, wanting to cut my money down, like, I don't think I want to pay you, or I'm going to start deducting your pay. I already know. It's because I'm not preaching. Because if I preach, she wants to do that. She wants to pay me my money and sometimes add on a little extra and stuff like that. But, the Lord, that's just in the sense that the Lord gives. So, we're going to talk about father versus friend. Not like in a match or a ring like that, but father versus friend. So, we're going to describe what is a father, and we're going to describe what is a friend. Okay, so a father can be, so definitions of a father, or what are attributes that a father carries is, a father carries authority. A father is supposed to be a protector. A father is authority. You got protector, provider. A father provides. Discipline. Your father disciplines you, which is kind of the same as, it kind of is with the authority component, I guess, to an extent. So you got authority, protection, provision, discipline, and investment. So we're gonna just stick with those five. So let's try to get at least five for a friend. If you want to, you can post too. Different attributes of a friend. So a friend is supportive. A friend is supposed to support you. A friend that you can lean on, I guess. So that kind of is like support. So you got supportiveness. You got, these are just coming off the top of my head. Support, somebody that's there for you, which is the same thing as support. Someone who loves you, I guess that's the same thing. I can't think of any other friend attributes. But yeah, friends do that. So, father versus friend. So, God, you may say God is everyone's father, which God is everyone's father. But if you read the word, you don't necessarily hear the Lord saying he's Abraham's father. You hear him call Abraham his friend. You may say, okay, what's the difference between God being a father to you and God being a friend to you? So don't get me wrong, God is your father. So, he tells you what to do. But God can also be a friend to you. You can choose which one do you want him to address you as. You want him to address you as a son or a friend. I mean, I guess both are good, but there are things that you're going to tell your friend that you're not going to tell your son. So if you and this guy are having a conversation and he's your best friend, you're going to tell your best friend things. You're not going to tell your son stuff. Or if you're a friend, or if it's you, so you're not going to tell your dad everything you would tell your best friend, of course, because that's your dad. You're not going to tell him stuff. But, this is from the standpoint of God. God isn't going to tell his, if you're a father, you're not going to tell your son everything. There are certain things you're not going to tell him. But if it's your friend, there are certain things you are going to tell him that you're not going to tell your son. So for me, I've experienced God being a father. I've experienced God being a friend. I would say, I don't know which one I prefer to be, a son or a friend. I mean, because of the way I am. So this is something I'd like everybody to participate in if you want. What would you rather be? Would you rather God be your friend or your father? You should. I'd like it if you post it. Write it. comment on it. Would you rather God be a father to you or a friend to you? Personally, I don't know, because, you know, when it comes down to a friend, your friend can't make you do anything. So your friend can give you suggestions like, I think you should do this. Your friend could say, you know, we should probably do this. We probably shouldn't be. But your friend can't necessarily control you. Your father, on the other hand, you know, you do this or I'm going to get that belt. So for me, I mean, you know, you hear the term, a hard head makes a soft behind. To whatever extent, I kind of have a hard head. To whatever extent. Just to be honest, I sometimes just don't listen. You can see that because I haven't been on here doing what God has called and ordained me to do. So I don't know. Would I rather God be a friend or a father? I don't know. I don't know if I want God to be a father to me or a friend to me. I don't know. I have no idea which one I want. Hopefully by the end of the video I can you know, say which one. So if God is, so I've experienced God being a friend. Huh? You need something? That steak meat, man. No, there's no more. There's no more.
Huh?
There's no more of it.
More of the like uncooked?
There's no more. Sorry for that. By the way, you know, we had some burgers. You know, it was good. But anyway, so you know, I've experienced God being a friend to me, and I've experienced God being a father to me. I guess He can be both. He can be both. So, you know, there are times where, you know, God is a friend. There are times where God is a friend. So, okay, I remember I was in church maybe a month ago. I want to say it was in November, maybe at the end of November. I was feeling down about some stuff, so I decided to worship in the back. I've experienced, so this was a time where I experienced God being a friend. You know, I'm sitting in the back. I didn't necessarily plan on worshiping. I was like, I'm just gonna stand here and wait for this night to go over. That's what was in my mind. Like I'm discouraged. I'm discouraged. And the Bible says that when you're discouraged, God's gonna lift you up. God's gonna be there for you because He's a friend. As a friend, when your friend is feeling bad or low, you're gonna ask, "What's wrong with you?" You're gonna try to cheer them up. So God tried to cheer me up, but He was my father at first. So you know how, as a father, if your child is acting up, like if you don't stop, you're not gonna get this. So there's a specific person who was supposed to be giving me a drum set. Specific person that's supposed to be giving me a drum set, but the person I hadn't seen the person. So I was just sitting there, you know, my mind is like, you know, if you do this, you know, you defy God in this way, there are going to be some consequences that are going to come from that. And so, you know, I'm just rationalizing like, I can handle that, I can handle that, I can handle that. You know, that's going in my head. And I'm just like, you know, I'm counting the cost to whatever extent. Is it really worth it? Do I really want my ministry to be discredited by other people who already I feel as if don't necessarily hold the highest regard for me? So, you know, I'm going back and forth in that. Like, you know, maybe the devil just wants to discredit me through other people. He wants something to say. So, you know, all of that is going through my head. You're going to let the devil triumph over you like that? You're going to let him, like, you're going to really let him do you like that? Like, and so that's going on in my head. And then this person who I haven't seen in a while walks into church, and I see the person, and I'm just like, and God, and then I just like, and then just that thought, like God saying, if you don't get yourself together, you're never gonna see that drum set. I was just like, oh, man. So I didn't start worshiping because I wanted the drum set, but because of some other stuff. But that was an example of God being a father. So I guess maybe 5% of me was just like, I want that drum set. So let's just, that 5% put in 5% to get me to do what I was supposed to do. And then later on, not the same night, but I think later on that week, I worshiped in the back. But I don't necessarily remember why I worshiped in the back. I think I worshiped in the back because I didn't want nobody to take my seat. So I worshiped in the back because when I worship in the front, I put my stuff in the seat. I come back, my stuff is moved. But I think I worshiped in the back for that reason. That's not the entire reason, but that's partially the reason. So I was back there, and then it was, but for some reason when I worship in the back, it's just not the place for me. The worshiping in the back is just not the place. So just that discouraging feeling just came back again. And I'm just like, and this is the same week, so this is that Friday. Discouraging feeling came back again, and I'm just like, oh man. So I'm not completely just standing there defying the Lord. I'm singing, but my heart and my mind is nowhere in this song. I am not thinking about anything I'm saying. So, and that's when then the Lord, I think I've experienced this before, maybe once or twice. But the Lord actually kind of like made me laugh. I knew why I was laughing. So it wasn't like, I'm laughing in the Holy Spirit. But it was like, He brought a joke back to mind. So I don't remember what the joke was actually though. But it was something when we were in the kitchen with my aunt. I was in the kitchen and she said something funny. And I was laughing. So in church, I just got this sad face. I got this long face. And God just brought back this joke to mind, and it made me laugh. And I didn't laugh out loud, of course, but I was smiling, doing like this, trying to hold it in to whatever extent. And it kind of just, as they say, boosted my spirits. It lifted my spirits. He knows how to lift you up. He just made me smile, just made me laugh. Just made me laugh, So, God can be your friend, God can be your father. As a father, he's going to be, there are nice fathers, okay? So, Jesus said this. He said, if you being evil know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more your father? So, and God is not evil. So imagine the kinds of gifts he gives. So, I experienced the goodness of God as, as a son. I experienced the goodness of God because maybe I want to say 2 or 3 weeks ago. I haven't been on here. I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago. I hadn't prayed. I believe it was a Saturday. I hadn't prayed. And it was like maybe 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock p.m. And I got this inclination like the Lord's going to be angry with you. You haven't spent no time with him today. It was just like I just shrugged that off whatever. And then, I remember Brother David was preaching about something, how sometimes God will, when you're in trouble, he'll do something nice for you just to get you see, I'm a good father. I'm a good friend. I do nice things for you even when you're in rebellion. That's to get you to, get it together. So, the Lord ended up using, he took me to a restaurant. Not literally, but I don't know how to explain it, but the Lord did take me to a restaurant that night. Took me to a restaurant, and I got some food. And then when I realized, I shouldn't be at this restaurant because I haven't, prayed. I haven't spent time with the Lord. And then that thought came back, hey man, the Lord still will do nice things for you, even though you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. He'll still do nice things for you because you're still a son, and he wants to show you hey, I'm good, so this is why you should. Sad part of the story though, I still didn't pray. I prayed before I was going to sleep, and it wasn't I spent time with him thing. It was now I lay me down to sleep kind of prayer. Woke up, I think, and I've experienced maybe the worst 2 weeks. It's been really bad, because the Lord's you're not doing anything you're supposed to be doing. Not that I haven't been praying, but I haven't been preaching. I haven't been doing that, and I know that that's something that the Lord has called me to, because, the other day I was cleaning up my room. I stubbed my toe at least 7 times in a minute. 7 times in 1 minute. Stubbed my toe, and it was just back to back, and it was just, ouch, all I could do was scream because it hurts. I'm hitting, and it's not the same toe. I'm hitting this toe. I'm hitting that toe. I'm hitting my pinky toe. All of my toes is just, and so, it does alter the way I walk because my toes are in pain. And the thought comes back into mind like, man, you're still not doing what you're supposed to be doing. So God can be that. God can be a father. I mean, I don't necessarily like pain. I mean, I don't like pain. So, and you may say to me, like, how do you not like pain yet you still weren't doing what you were supposed to do? And I could say, I don't know. I must like pain. But I could ask you the same question. Evaluate, what kind of person am I? Am I a person that likes pain? Or am I a person that doesn't like pain? If you're somebody that doesn't like pain, I'd assume that you're a Christian. If you're somebody that does like pain, I'd assume you're not. Because if you think about it, and Brother David said this last night, if you think about it, like if you didn't like pain, you'd be obeying the Lord. I mean, there is absolutely no way to escape. So let's just picture God as this. I want to paint a really mean, scary picture of God really quickly. So the Bible in Luke, I don't remember where, but in Luke, I believe it's Luke, Jesus tells a parable. It's the same parable that you hear of the talents, but it paints a different picture of this guy. So it paints this picture as a guy who was a very mean ruler. He's a ruler, so he has control over a specific region or area. And he's mean. The guy's mean. And he thinks everything he does is right. And there's no stopping him. He's going to do whatever he wants to do, whenever he wants to do it, to whomever he wants to do it. So, he's one of those guys. And he's a ruler. So this guy leaves these other men and says, okay, I'm going to give you this many talents, I'm going to give you this many talents, I'm going to give you this many talents. When I come back, I want to see what you've done with them. So this guy leaves to go and acquire another kingdom or another area or another region. He goes to take over. And so while he's away, you got the guy with the 5 talents who doubles his, the guy with the 2 talents who doubles his, and the guy with 1 talent who buries his. And then you got the people of the area, the region, and they send a letter back to this guy who's out taking over another area. And they tell him, hey, we don't want you to come back because of the way you are. And the way they describe this guy is you go and you reap and you reap in areas where you haven't even sowed. So basically he's a thief. You're going and you're stealing from your own people. You're stealing from your own people. So you got this guy who planted. You come and you just take his stuff. You got that girl over there who does this. You come and you take that. This lady may be drawing water for her family. And you just take the jar and drink it all and give it back to her. Like, you're that kind of guy. So they send a letter to him like, hey, we don't want you to come back. And so while he's away, I guess he gets that letter. He's just like, it's one of those things he just, okay, let's keep fighting. So they take over, and the guy ends up coming back with his army. They come back, and he's just like, the first person he wants to talk to is his servants. Like, okay, so I want to get on my servants. So he sees the guy with the 5 talents. What have you done with what I gave you? Sir, that's a righteous fear. So they were afraid of him to obedience. So, okay, God likes that. So I fear God to the point where I'm going to obey him. So that's this guy with the 5 talents. Like, hey, he didn't say anything, but I'm sure in his head, like, this guy does this to people, he does this to people, and nobody tells him what he can and cannot do. He does what he wants. So I might as well obey him because he does what he wants. So he says, hey, you gave me 5 talents, I got 5 more. So now I got 10. He gives it to him. He's like, well done, my good and faithful servant. I don't know if he says it like that, but he says, well done. You've been faithful over much, I'll make you ruler over. You've been faithful over a little, I'll make you rule over much. I think that's the area in scripture where it says, I'll make you rule over 10 cities. You got the guy with the 2. He comes, he says, I got 2, and you gave me 2, and I got 2 more. He's like, okay, that's still good because you worked with what I gave you. So, okay, you've been faithful with little, I'll make you rule over much. I'll make you rule over 4 cities. I believe he said that. And then, he's probably got this, this good mood. I've said this before. And he comes to the other guy like, okay, what did you do? And this guy has the nerve to basically rebuke his ruler. Like, I know you're a bad person. That's basically what he says. I know you're a terrible, wicked ruler. and you do these kinds of things. So I didn't want to risk losing what you gave me. So I took it and I buried it. Here's what you gave me, and I'm giving it back. And this guy probably feels disrespected, like. And he says something so powerful. He says, you knew that I was this way. You knew that I go and I gather where I haven't strawed, or something like that. Basically, you knew that I go and I take what I want from whomever. You know that I do these kinds of things. You know that I'm a ruthless person. And you did this with it? You didn't even give it to the bank so that I can receive a little bit of interest? You didn't try anything, did you? So he says, okay, all right, I got something for you. He says, okay, so he says, take that, what he has, and give it to the guy with the 10 talents. I believe that's in that story. I hope I'm not mixing up parables. But he says, take from this guy and give it to that guy who has 10. And then I believe the scripture comes after that. I think I'm mixing up Luke with Mark. I don't know. Because in Mark, in that same area, it says, for to whom, basically says, I'm going to paraphrase, for those who have, more will be given. But those that have not shall be taken away, even that which they seem to have. So basically, this guy who had, and he used, more is going to be given to him. But this guy who didn't have, even though he did, he just didn't have a lot. For those who don't have, or who has little, well, that's going to be taken from you. That little bit that you did have is going to be taken from you. So he got that taken away from him. So then this guy, who's already a mean dude, he's a mean dude. He calls the people who sent the letter to him. So he must have kept that in his back pocket. All right, so this person, this person, this person, this person, and this person. Bring those people here right now and kill them in my presence. So this guy is ruthless. Like, I mean, I understand why they wouldn't want him to be their ruler, because of the way he is. But you can't argue with somebody who A, has more power than you, and B, does what they want to do. You can't argue with them. You can't argue with them. And God is that way too. And you may say, well, yes, but God is just. God is just, and God is merciful, and God is fair. But God isn't fair based off of your standards. God is fair based off of his standards. So he has his own way of living. God has his own way of living. You may say, well, you may look at Eli and look at Samuel. If you look at them, Eli was a man of God. Samuel was a man of God. They both had wicked sons, and both of their wicked sons were in positions of authority. Eli, God killed him. It doesn't even, and so if you read the story, it shows that Eli actually talked to his sons like, hey, don't do that. You know, God can judge you, and they didn't listen. God killed this guy Eli and his sons for his son's wickedness. You got this guy Samuel. There is no history, there is no proof that this guy Samuel once mentioned anything to his sons, and they were in positions of authority, yet God blessed this guy Samuel. And if you look at that, you may say, wait, that is not fair. That's not fair. How come? And let me keep you going for a little bit. Brother David talked this, I think, last Sunday. You got this guy Saul, and you got this guy David, okay? Everybody think, oh, David he was the greatest king. Yes, he was the greatest king. Under Jesus, of course. But, you know, this guy David was great. Yes, he was great, but this guy did some stuff he wasn't supposed to do. So you got Saul. This guy Saul, the first thing he did was, you know, he just sacrificed. You know, he sacrificed to God. He sacrificed to God, and God said, I'm taking the kingdom from you. Okay. But, you know, to an extent, God gave this guy a second chance. Although he did get the kingdom stripped from him the first time, but just to give him, you know, another chance, God just said, go and kill everybody. He saves just the best sheep, and he keeps the king alive and the best animals. But he keeps the best animals so that he can sacrifice them to God. And God curses this guy through Samuel. Curses him through Samuel. And you may say, okay, wait. The first thing he did, he was trying to honor God before war, and he got cursed for it. The second thing, he wanted to sacrifice to God, and he got cursed for it. Wow, you may say that's not bad. And then you got this guy David. This guy David took one of his most loyal soldiers, took his wife, and so this guy David fornicated with one of his most loyal soldiers' wives, and then had him killed. And he just got a minor consequence. The Lord did not curse this guy. The Lord didn't take the kingdom from this guy. In fact, the Lord actually, every king after David that was a king of Judah, the Lord compared them to David. Like, the Lord held up David as a standard and said, either he didn't or he did walk in the ways of David, his father. So, but this guy, he committed murder and fornication. Didn't get the kingdom taken from him. And you may say, hold on. This guy he didn't know all of that. He was the first king of Israel. There are things that he probably didn't know. And the Lord cursed him after basically one mistake. This was literally a mistake. He did not know. This was a mistake. He was a fearful guy. He's the first king. I mean, it's a lot of pressure on the first guy. David is the second, so now he has more understanding. He's closer to the Lord, and he does this, which is much bigger. So you'd expect God to show mercy to this guy rather than this guy, yet God showed mercy to the guy who knew more and did more, and cursed the guy who knew less and did less. That's, I'm painting a really mean, scary picture of God right now, just to, get your blood boiling. Just to get your blood boiling with some rage. I want you to get angry. So that's like taking let's say your 15-year-old and your 2-year-old, okay? Because let's just say 2, because Saul was 2 years into his kingdom. Can I get an amen, somebody? So you got this 2-year-old and you got this 15-year-old. The 2-year-old goes into the refrigerator, opens the refrigerator, and just drinks some water. Okay? The 2-year-old just goes in the fridge and drinks some water. And you spank that 2-year-old like you'd spank a 15-year-old. And then you got your 15-year-old who steals your car, goes and crashes it, and fornicates with some lady, then kills some people, and then is now in jail. And you bail your son out, and you tell him you shouldn't do that. You just scold him like, you shouldn't do that. I don't want you to do that. Please don't. But you just beat this 2-year-old like you were fighting a thug in the streets. And your 15-year-old, you didn't do anything to him. So that's, I hope your blood is boiling right now. I hope you're feeling with rage. And so now I want to ask you a question. Now you got all of this knowledge of what God does. Like, God does that, God does that. But now I want to ask you. I got 7 words for you. What are you going to do about it? I think that's 7 words. But what are you going to do about it? Like that little kid and then the big bully. The little kid's like, hey, you shouldn't be doing that. And the bully just stands up and says, what are you going to do about it? Not saying that God is a bully. But God does what he wants to do. This is his world. You're just living in it. This is God's world. You're just living with it. This is God's show. This is God's show. Okay? Wow, and Brother David is live right now. Confirmation. But this is God's show. This is God's show. So, you got that. God does that. What are you going to do about it? You're not going to do anything. You can't go to heaven and give God a piece of your mind. No, you can't do that. You can curse him out all you want. You can say, well, I'm not going to serve him. That's why I'm not going to serve him. And God's just like, so? Okay? You're not going to serve me. Okay? That's only going to hurt you because you're the one who's going to go to hell, not me. You're the one who's going to feel the pain in hell, not me. That's you. Like, okay, don't serve me. That's not going to hurt me. So that's how it is. Like when you have a little kid and they want to threaten you with these weird threats. Like my little sister always does that. And she says she'll go to my mom and she'll be like, I told mommy you get pop. And I'm just looking at her like, okay, because if you go in mommy's room while she's at work, you're going to be the one to get in trouble. She does that all the time. Even when I'm trying to help her, Like, and I told her, no, Asher, don't do that. She'll be like, I tell mommy you get pop, or she'll go to my mom and be like, Sammy got attitude. She's trying to say that I have an attitude. I'm just sitting there looking at her like, oh, I'm so scared, Asher. I'm so scared. Not, I'm not being sarcastic, but like that, like, not really hurting me. Or when she has this, she does this thing where, if you tell her no, she'll just be like, and she just walks away, and I'm just like, and she looks at me and she just gives me that look like, and I'm just like, you're the one who's gonna get in trouble for having an attitude, That's how it is. Like, your little kid, your little sister, your little sibling, or this little kid is trying to threaten you like they can actually hurt you. That's how it is with God. God's not scared of you. God is not scared of you. And I don't even remember how we got on this subject, because we were talking about father versus friend. But let's go back to that. So, would you rather God be your father or God be your friend? I still don't know. Now, God does what he wants to do. Nobody tells him what to do. Nobody tells him what to do. God does what he wants to do. He does what he wants to do. So, if he wants to kill somebody, he's going to kill the person. You might as well, you will be in your best interest to just obey whatever that guy says, because he does what he wants to do, and nobody tells him what to do. He doesn't have to give an account of any of his matters. He can say, I'm going to kill this person. Everybody just, okay. I'm going to raise this person up, okay? If you read Hannah's prayer in Samuel chapter 2, give you a better picture. Read, forget where. But God is the one who kills and makes alive. So you get upset with the police. Oh, the police killed this black man. Nobody dies unless God says so. So if God says, I don't want this person to die, it doesn't matter how many times you get shot, it doesn't matter how many times you get stabbed. You may look a little contorted, but you're not going to be dead. It doesn't matter if they cut your head off. You just may not have a head, but you're still alive. God does what he wants to do, and nobody tells God what to do. He can kill you today. Today. He can kill you today. He can kill you today without a single feeling of remorse. He could just blink his eye and you no longer exist. God does what he wants to do. He is in complete control. All the more reason to just obey him. Do whatever he says. He's somebody who does what he wants to do, even if he knows you don't think it's fair. He's going to do what he wants to do, and you can't do anything about it. He's going to do what he wants to do. So it just makes sense to obey him. Just stay on his good side. Stay on his good side. Stay on his good side, because you don't want to get him angry. You don't want to get him angry. So, I love you guys. God loves you too. And that's what gives us hope. The fact that God loves. So I'm not telling you this to compare God to a really mean person. So you got the devil, okay? You got the devil. If the devil is in position of control where God is, let's just say he is. This is somebody that hates your guts. The devil hates you, like hates you. And let's just say the devil actually is in control of you if you're not a Christian. So he runs your life. And he's going to make your life hard, because this guy already hates you and he has more power than you. So what are you going to do about it? You can reason with God. God says that, like, come, let us reason together. Like, God wants to hear what you think, I guess, sometimes. God wants to hear what you think. God will treat you like a friend. Like, I sometimes do that. Like, and sometimes God is a father to me when I talk to him about this. Sometimes he's a friend. Like, when I was having weird feelings, I'm a growing man. So I have feelings, I have emotions. I may see a girl, she's pretty. And there are times where, oh my goodness, please focus through that. There are times where, you know, I'm somewhere, and you know, I see this person, and it's like, she's really pretty, and God's just like, what? No, she's not. Like, yes, she is. Like, no, she's not. And I'm like, yes, she is. God's like, who says someone is pretty or not? And I'm like, well, I do, because it's my feelings. They're like, I don't want you to have those feelings. And he tells me that a lot. Like when I'm distracted, you know, that when I'm distracted, that's the time where the devil, you know, wants to hit me with all these weird thoughts when I'm not focused. So when I'm not focused, the devil, he has a field day with my mind. When I'm focused, you're not getting me to budge. So the Lord, so sometimes it's praying. I remember I would a few months ago, I was talking to the Lord, like, Lord, I have these feelings about this specific person. I have these emotions. And I'm supposed to be focused on you, not this. So God would, like, okay, oh really, you have that emotion? And I'm like, yes. And he's like, okay, so what are you gonna do about it? Like, that's why I'm talking to you. And you know, he would like, I don't want to exaggerate it. He would like assure me of certain things, like, okay, like, and he'll ask me questions like, okay, what do you like about this person? Like, well, I like this. And God's like, well, that's not what you should be liking. And I was like, well, that's true. So, you know, I could sit down and have those conversations with God. And I'm not saying God answers me with just this powerful, audible voice. I mean, my name is Samuel, but I haven't heard him say anything in my ear yet. But, you know, he talks to me in my mind. He talks to me in my dreams. He talks to me in the Bible. He talks to me through my parents. You know, I got to catch that all the time. He's always talking to me through my mom. You know, because my mom, if you get my mom talking, you know, pretty soon give her a microphone and a podium. Because when my mom starts scolding, she starts spitting heat. I'm sorry, but she starts spitting heat. You know, she needs a podium, because when she gets started, she turns into a pastor real quick. So, you know, he talks to me through her a whole lot. Talks to me through her all the time. And sometimes he talks to me just as thoughts in my mind. And I know that's not my thought, because I don't think that. So, you know, God talks to me. So if I'm sitting there and, you know, just like, I like this person, and God's like, well, okay. Sometimes he's the father, like, no, you don't need to be liking no girl. Like, oh. So, or sometimes he's just like, okay. So sometimes he wants to talk about it. Sometimes he's just like, I don't want to talk about that. So, you know, I don't want to hear that come out of your mouth again. I don't want to see it in your heart. I don't want to see it in your mind. When you see that person, I don't want any weirdness. Because if I see any awkwardness, if I feel any awkwardness, we're going to have problems. And there are times where, you know, I feel as if he's allowing me to voice what I'm feeling. Like, okay, voice that. Okay, well, Lord, I have these feelings. He's like, okay, well, why do you have those feelings? What about the person draws you to them? Well, this. And I was like, that is not the right reason, man. Like, you're too young. Like, you're 15 years old. What do you know about being a husband? Like, I've said that to God. Like, I'm ready to get married. And I was like, what? You don't know the first thing to do when you get married. I'm like, yes, huh? Of course, in your carnal, lustful mind, you know what the first thing is. But God's like, that is not the first thing, man. Like, and so as I sit with the Lord about these, you know, one thing that I realize is, as I talk to him about it, just layers, thick layers, I would say, thick layers about the thickness of my head. He's peeling off thick layers of lust, just pulling it off. So when I'm out and about, I see a specific person, it's like, I have no emotion. All I have is love, but there's no tingling feeling, there's no blushing, none of that. And if I go some time without sitting with the Lord about this matter, so if it's at level, so let's say I'm at level 100. I'm not really at level 100. But let's say I'm at level 100. I sit with God a lot, and then I'm at level 85. I don't pray for some, or at least I don't pray. I don't talk to him about this issue. It's not going to rise back up to 100. It's going to go back up to 85 to 90. 85 to 90. Like, oh, I start feeling like, what's that? Like, that's this. You haven't been spending time with me. And I'm not saying I have 0% emotion, because the Lord has not fully delivered me from all of these generational curses that I've been opened up to. I'm not saying there's absolutely nothing. I'm saying as I sit with God about these matters, he peels off layers. He's going layer by layer. He's not just gonna snap his fingers and you're an all right person. I'm not saying he can't. He can. In the Bible, it says it just says God gave Saul another heart. Like, there was no, I'm gonna sit in prayer to get this new heart. No, I'm gonna just give this guy another heart, just like that. So you got that, but God is a mystery. You can never fully understand him, because he's just that amazing. He's just that amazing. So I could sit with God about this, and God wants to talk to me about it, I saw the way you looked at this person, or I saw the way you looked at that person. I'm like, yeah. And he's just like, what's going on? Like, well, I have these emotions. And God's like, why do you have those emotions? Well, I'm 15, Lord. I'm growing into a man. And a part of this comes with those feelings. And sometimes God's like, he's like, well, you shouldn't have those feelings. I'm like, well, Lord, you created me with the feelings. Like, oh, so you want to get slick? Like, no. I'm just saying, if these feelings were not feelings, then people wouldn't be on the planet. It was like, how do you know it's my will that you ever get married? So when the Lord starts saying stuff like that, in my head's like you can't rebuke the Lord. You can't rebuke the Lord. So it's like, well, Lord, is it your will? And the Lord's like, that is not something I want to talk to you about, because you're 15. Why are we even having this conversation? Sometimes he wants to cut the conversation short when he wants to be a father. Sometimes he wants to just talk about it. Like, just tell me everything. You like that? Yes. Why do you like that? Because you shouldn't like that. Well, I shouldn't. Well, can you change me? Yes, I can change you. So, as you sit with the Lord about those things, he pulls off layers. He pulls off layers by layer by layer until you're free. Until you're free. He does that. So, when God is your friend, he's more, I don't want to say more patient or more understanding, because I'd say he's a mystery when he's your friend, and he's a mystery when he's your father, because he treats you the way he wants to treat you. Nobody tells him, you shouldn't treat your kids that way, you shouldn't do that, or you shouldn't do this, because he does whatever he wants to do. So, and you can't tell him what to do. So your best bet would be to just obey. So, I talk to God about that stuff, and he delivers me little bit by little bit, depending on how long I sit with him about the matter. So if I sit with God if I get 2 hours in, and 40 minutes of that 2 hours is about this, my feelings as a 15-year-old, these feelings of lust, these feelings of I want to be with the opposite gender in this way. When I sit with God about that, let's say 40 minutes. When I come out, the opposite gender is like males. Like, I look at all of them like men. Like, that's a man, that's a man, that's a man, that's a man, that's a man. And then as the day goes by, because it's like I'm like a cup. You're like a cup. When you spend time with God, God's just filling you up. He's just pouring. And you go out and you exert that grace. You exert that. I think the word is exert. But okay, you work off all that grace and all that goodness that God has given you, and then you get empty. You start getting low, and you go back. But Brother David explained it to me this way: you're not necessarily supposed to fill up your gas tank when you're on E, or when the gas light comes on, or when your car is shutting down on I-95 or somewhere. That's not when you want to go and get gas. You want to get gas, you know, okay, I'm dropping a little low. Okay, I'm going to fill it up. You know, you don't eat when you're at the brink of death. Like, your body's completely empty. You don't wait till you're there to eat. You fill up on the regular. So that's what you're supposed to do in the spirit. So I'm not supposed to wait till I'm, like, about to fornicate to want to, oh, I need to fill up on some grace because I'm about to do this. Like, no, you don't do that. You don't do that. You're supposed to, you know, okay, I'm feeling a little low, or I think I'm running out. I'm going to go back in and get some more. That's what you're supposed to do. So, you know, when he explained it to me that way, it's like, okay, that's what I'm supposed to do. So, when I could sit in there, you know, 40 minutes about this specific thing. I spend 40 minutes on this specific thing. If I do that, come out, women are like men. Like, we're all in the military. You know, that's what this is. I can go to this place, see this female, and she's like a brother. Like, what's up, man? Like, what? Like, I'm not a man. Like, you're not a man, but that's what I'm looking at you as, because that's what God is pouring out on me, you know? You know, like, what's up? Like, you know, there's no feeling, there's no emotion, there's none of that. And then getting into worship, getting into the word, you know, like, it was filling me up. But when I go, like, some time, either without spending long enough time with God, or just not talking to him about this specific area of my life at all, you know, slowly but surely, you know, that grace and that specific compartment of this cup begins to run out. And I got to go back in unless I want pain. And if I don't like pain, then I'm going to keep going in. Like, Lord, this, Lord that, Lord this, Lord that, Lord this, Lord that. I have all these issues. And God, by his grace and his mercy, allows me to access him in a special way. So most people, like, I feel God's presence like this. This guy doesn't. Like, people like, I feel the tangible presence of God. It's like fire that's burning this. And, you know, it's like, and when I'm in the presence, I just see him pouring gallons of milk on my face. Like, oh, wow, that's amazing. Because this guy, like, and, you know, when I'm like, Lord, I can't feel your presence like that. God's like, you feel my presence like this. Because when I'm in prayer, I could go into prayer and have these feelings. It's like, I have these feelings, Lord. And God's just like, oh, really? Like, yes, I have these feelings. Come into my presence. When I walk out of the presence, I don't have those feelings. Like, oh, wow, they're gone. That's my way. That's how I access God. Like, I go in feeling this way and I come out feeling this way. I know when I'm in the spirit because I don't get yelled at for simple stuff when I'm in the spirit. Like, my mom doesn't have to tell me, clean up the kitchen, wash the dishes, wipe off the counter, take out the trash, clean your room. That's something that I just do. Like, I just do it. She doesn't have to say anything to me. That's how I know I'm in the spirit, because I'm just being completely governed by Christ. Like, he's literally like he has the wheel right now. When I'm not in the spirit, I know I'm not in the spirit because I have the wheel. Because my mom has to tell me, take out the trash. Take out the trash, take out the trash. You know, I do it eventually. But, you know, that obedience level, you know, and that in the obedience compartment starts running down. And for some reason, for me, I think I have a hole in that compartment because for some weird reason, that compartment runs out faster than any other compartment in this cup. That obedience part. It runs out so fast. Probably because I don't fill it up all the way, maybe. But for some reason, it runs out so fast. Like, what in the world? So, gotta stay in the presence. When God can be your father or he can be your friend. Which one do you prefer? I don't know. I still don't know. I said hopefully by the end of the video. I still don't know which one I prefer. Maybe I prefer him to be... I don't know. So, you know, I love you guys, and I'm happy that the Lord has blessed me in such a way. I am happy. And I do look forward to starting the Proverbs series either tomorrow or Monday. Hopefully all of you guys can subscribe to the channel. Actually, I'm just gonna say the name. It's Kendra Jean Bar. So it's my mother's YouTube, but so that I can stay safe, spiritually safe, I post my videos there. That's where I'm gonna be doing this Proverbs study. I do plan on maybe every now and then in the study, because it's 31 chapters in Proverbs. Yeah, 31 chapters. So for 31 days, hopefully I can get it every single day. By the grace of God, I am. So by the grace of God, I'm going to get it every single day for the next 31 days once I start. So go and subscribe. Go and subscribe to the channel Kendra God is Love Jean Bart. That is the name of it, and I am gonna start the Proverbs, and I do look forward to inviting certain sisters from the ministry to come and do this with me, because Proverbs seems to be a woman's book anyway. Not like that, but like most females, what are you studying, sis? I'm studying Proverbs. What are you studying? I'm studying Proverbs. They always say I want to be a Proverbs 31 wife. Like, there's no Revelation 16 wife, no Revelation 19 wife, no Luke 16 wife. That wife that knows I'm gonna go to hell if I don't do that. I don't hear that a lot. So yeah, but they want to be a Proverbs 31 wife. So I look forward to inviting a few sisters, if it's the Lord's will, to do this with me, and God willing, I am going to do it. I am going to do it, God willing. So I love you all, and stay faithful. Stay faithful. God can make you faithful just like He's making me faithful. If you're not focused, you're not going to be able to be faithful, because you're only going to be faithful to what you're focused on. So if I'm focused on God, I'm going to be faithful to God. If I'm focused on the world, I'm going to be faithful to the world. So I love you all, and God willing, we'll talk in the next 24 hours.